Evolution of Dragonball. So, as I said on the show open, that or even in the show description, is that Dragon Ball has been around for 35 years. Dragon Ball. I mean, it's amazing to even hear that. Yeah, like Dragon Ball has been around for 35 years. Goku by far is the most recognizable anime character on the planet. Yeah. Like without question. Like you see his hairstyle, you see that orange gi, you see that funny face, or you hear his furrowed brow with the golden hair when he's a Super Saiyan. Doesn't matter. You know Goku when you see him. So he, to me, has become almost as one of the top 10 cartoon characters of all time. Maybe even recognizable comic book figures of all time, up there with Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, etc. He's up there. So, but everybody's had their own experience Dragon Ball. They've all entered Dragon Ball in their own different, areas, whether it be Z, whether it be Dragon Ball Original, whether it be GT, whether it be the video games, whether it be, just the Dragon Ball movies. Everybody has their own different starting point with Dragon Ball. So we kind of are gonna give you ours, and we definitely want to hear what your entrance point with Dragon Ball is. So I'm gonna turn it over to the man with the flashy eyepiece to the right of me, Mr. GQ. What was your entrance into Dragon Ball a long time ago, my friend?
My entrance into the awesome series that is known as Dragon Ball Z, because I started with Z. I didn't start with Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is not my type of show. It's cutesy. It's trying to be funny. I didn't really care about stuff like that. So, for me, the initiation was always Super Android 13, also known for us as Dragon Ball. Movie 7.
Yes.
That, to me, was probably the microcosm of everything I liked about the show. The action, the fighting, I don't know, just the spectacle of it. And I think looking at Dragon Ball Z brought me back to the original days of stuff like Voltron, Tranzor Z, just basically like shows that you saw occasionally over here that were just different than all the cartoons we were getting. G.I. Joe and Transformers Till I Die, but these other shows, when they would have like little, every now and again they would just show them for some strange reason out of the blue, except because Voltron was a kind of a regular running series. I don't know. It always caught my attention. So then when first time I saw movie 7, it was like, oh, wow, I need to see more of this.
Yeah.
Like, I really need to see more of this. And that's why, like I said, Dragon Ball.
Oh, you know what? Important question. Important distinction. How did you see? Because everybody, also, like back in the day when Dragon Ball first came on, wasn't out over here in America. So everybody had to usually find it through some back channel way. So what was your, how did you first see movie 7 when you first saw it?
On a fan sub.
VHS?
VHS. Yeah. Okay, sorry. For all of you youngsters.
It's this thing.
This medium called VHS.
Right.
Video set. And it was a magnetic tape that, recorded the audio and visual stylings of a particular show or movie or whatever, what have you. And problem with VHS is it was an analog format, so usually you had one master copy, and with fan subs, fan done subtitles. There was that master copy that we all probably watched the exact same copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. So
and with each copy, it degraded by a generation.
Your quality was great.
Washed out colors and all that.
That's a lot of.
Yeah.
When we did our way back when we were doing the anime club, and we did our anime fest.
Yeah.
I think it was might have been, what I'm talking about. Kathy and Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, from WYSIWYG.
Yeah, WYSIWYG.
Yeah.
They had the clearest copy of movie 7 that I had
ever seen on VHS. So, yes.
And again, movie 7 was one of those. You would go to a convention, and most booths would show it because that was the one everybody kind of was into.
Oh, absolutely.
And if that copy was clean, it was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and buy that.
Like when you could buy fan subs and not get rated by the FBI.
Well, yeah,
right.
That too.
So, do you remember when they used to storm Comic-Con and swoop up all the bootleg tapes? Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just, and again, it was what it was. It used to be the Wild West and kind of more cutthroat back in the day. So all of y'all that have Crunchyroll and all these other streaming services
Yeah,
don't
y'all
know
don't
how
know the
good
struggle.
you'll have it.
Y'all don't know the struggle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way,
Mm-mm.
Tony Young gave you a very cool nickname. By the way,
What's that?
he said that you look like a Dapper Nappa.
Dapper Nappa.
Dapper Nappa. That is
Okay.
dope,
All
dude.
right. Dapper Nappa. I'll accept it. Dapper Nappa tonight.
That works.
Oh
I think
yeah,
that
this fool super nerd watching the show, right? So you remember? Okay, so throwing it back, put the camera on me. So basically, he remembers when we did the Anime Fest, and this was like back when Brianna, I think, was like 2 or 3 years old or something like that. No, she wasn't even 2 yet. She was still a baby. So I tried to do cosplay back then. Remember that? I bought a.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I bought a.
What you go with?
I bought a jogging suit, and I cut that boy up. Tried to make myself look like Gohan, Teen Gohan. Even had the cutout wig and everything. Dude, the shit was bad. It was terrible, dude. I'm not a
man.
cop. It was
Try
really
it.
bad, man. It was
It
was really bad. I felt embarrassed even trying it, but hey, I was having fun, so I didn't care.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's just having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
turn it over to my esteemed colleague.
Yeah. So what was yours, Dado? What was your?
Well,
Intro to
I
Dragon
have
Ball.
to say that I cut my teeth on Dragon Ball, and not only that, I remember.
What was this? Like how long?
I'm
ago was this?
gonna try to get
Okay.
you. So, not a lot of people know the opening theme song to Dragon Ball in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
When I first heard it, I was like, I heard this song before. Dragon Ball, they tried to put Dragon Ball in the 80s, like in the early, and like around the time Transor Z and all that other stuff was going on. They tried to do Dragon Ball. They changed names and did all this other stuff because that's what Saban thing. I think Saban had it because I remember hearing that song, but it was in English.
I think that was the
Yeah.
that was
They took the
that's
Japanese song and had it in English.
Yep.
And I remember that song. But after that,
Yeah.
because that was just a barely memory, I remember being in a KB toy stores,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a toy Krillin that you pressed the button on his back and he would kick. And that was before Channel 20 here in Detroit, Metro Detroit area, used to show
remember that.
Dragon Ball.
I remember that. Yeah.
And it was the same 13 episodes, and I was interested in Dragon Ball because I'm a little bit younger than GQ, and I don't mind stuff like that because it still had the fighting in it, still had a Goku in it. It did have its silliness in it, even though they changed stuff because, like, friggin' Oolong wanted a pair of comfortable underwear.
Oh, of course.
And the Japanese one, he wanted some girls' panties.
Oh, of course, you wanted some panties,
Yeah,
dude.
and they changed that, and they changed a lot of stuff. And I think it was hilarious when you find out some stuff, like when Goku patting friggin' Bulma.
Yeah,
and, and it was like,
Dude, that was the
yeah,
worst.
that was freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
But like the same 13 episodes came on Channel 20 here, and then I just remember one day I stopped watching. I was like, man, I ain't watching this crap no more because they keep showing the same thing over and over again. My brother was we were at my dad's house. My brother was in his bedroom. He was watching. He was like, man, Darian, turn on Channel 20. I was like, why? He was like, man, Goku grew up. I was like, what are you talking about? And it was Dragon Ball Z. And I was like, holy crap. So, like, watching that stuff on TV and knowing about Dragon Ball because, I started watching the stuff. But when I got into high school, one of my friends at the Votech was passing around that movie 7 and 8. And it was a fan sub copy, and I was just like, holy effing shit. Now, that's what the time when you start getting freaking annoyed because, again, Channel 20 kept showing the same.
Right.
They'll get to a certain point, and then restart.
Restart it all over
And I was
again,
just like,
yeah.
oh, my gosh. But then eventually, I forget who picked it up, and they started coming on early in the friggin' mornings, and it was started doing the Namek Saga and all this other stuff, waking up stupid early to watch it.
That was the Ocean. What was it? It
think-
wasn't Viz, but it was the Ocean Group was doing the dubbing.
Yeah,
the
they
Ocean
were doing
Group
it.
in Canada. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, so
I
like,
want to say
started
it was
getting
Toei, but I'm not
No,
sure.
that was Saban. That was Saban that got it.
It might have been.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
Was
was
it?
remember. I just
Saban, and then
remember
it went to Funimation,
Okay.
but it was Saban.
Yeah,
first.
Funimation didn't have it for.
Yeah.
I think when Funimation picked it up, that's when they started progressing and doing more. But like when I met you guys back in 1997, gosh, just saying that out loud makes me.
Well, then you didn't have to say it. What
I
you
like
for?
saying it though, but
You
it's
didn't
still
have to
it
say
doesn't
it.
make me feel old. That's not what I was
Makes
gonna
us
say.
feel old. Well,
it just
maybe-
makes me
maybe I should
feel
speak
like.
myself. Anyway, go ahead.
Wow, that's just it's not old. Whatever. I mean, I may be getting old. I don't necessarily feel old, except for when I try to get up in the bed out of bed every morning. But regardless of that, that was one of the things that we watched immensely because they started putting out, I think, the stuff on DVD at the time, and I didn't have a DVD player when I first showed up, but I remember Mr. Miles GQ did, and he had Triamite on if I remember correctly,
like a Pioneer release.
Yeah, and the first three I think he had.
Pioneer was
Yeah,
Pioneer. Thank you.
No, it wasn't Laserdisc. It was DVD, but they were delivered in like little
CD.
small like jewel cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember him showing us. So I ended up buying them on VHS and feeling a little disappointed because, like, you saw movie 7 and 8,
right?
And you're like, okay, but of course, movie 1, 2, 3, 4,
no Super Saiyan,
nothing. You didn't none of that Super Saiyan. It was just like,
but
and you didn't know it because you didn't see that in the TV
right,
show yet.
Yeah,
you see any of that. It didn't get to that point
right.
yet for us here on TV.
Yeah,
and so like you just kept scratching at any Dragon Ball you could get,
like
anything
anywhere.
you could get.
Yes,
fan subs here. I know we started getting more fan subs because there's people out there. You guys are running an anime club and having an anime fest, and every once in a while those fan servers would come, so you would buy whatever you could. Man, it was a time that was just unlike now, where it's just like it's oversaturated. Even though I'm not complaining, it's just like, what do you want to watch? But back then, it was like you weren't selective. You just got whatever you had. And most of the time, if it was Dragon Ball, you were picking that stuff up. So like,
absolutely.
I think Dragon Ball was one of those things that really, helped me, I guess, find friends that like the stuff that I like. Because when I was in high school, even though I got the things from the people in high school, they were like, they put their toes in it. And I know they probably like it. I don't know if they liked it as much as I did because it wasn't mine. I believe they, liked a whole bunch.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah.
I'm not 100% sure if they liked it the exact same. But when I met you guys, I was like, you guys like this stuff like how I like it.
Well, yeah, you can always tell the ones that kind of was like, oh, this is kind of cool, I'll watch it. And then there's the others like us that are like, dude, this is like an obsession.
This
like,
is life now.
This is an obsession. I gotta watch this
life.
shit.
I mean, I don't even know if you could call it the anime club. It was Dragon Ball Club and freaking video game club.
Cause like, dude, it was the weirdest thing. Whenever we would try and show them anything but Dragon Ball, these dudes would be all bored as shit. But as soon as we throw on Dragon Ball, any Dragon Ball, it didn't matter. They were all tuned in. They were like, oh, yeah.
Yep. Even remember when we actually sat down and did our own fan dub?
Oh yeah.
I want to know who the hell has that VHS. You still got it?
She's got
oh boy.
I'll dig it out and digitize it.
I wish we could upload that.
No, we can't.
I mean,
No, we can't.
Dude, Bandai, you want to mess with Bandai?
you could probably upload it, but since the voices and all the music is not there, it'd be a tough thing. But make it private.
They got simuldubs and stuff all over YouTube. It's all right.
Oh boy, that would be crazy. Just so you guys can see it.
Yeah, no, they'll do it. No, but it was awesome.
Even going back to the anime club, and I definitely want to let Fall of Marvel jump in.
Yeah.
Even going back to the anime club, that was literally one tape that was always brought. And it was a just in case. It's like, oh, you've never seen Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Somebody grab movie 7
for you.
It was a given. Like that was everybody's like gateway drug into Dragon Ball Z. Like if you seeing this stuff on Channel 20 and some of the other stations that were showing it, it's like no. We're a little bit more advanced here. Here's what we're watching and what we're trying to find episodes of and all that other sort of thing. So. But yeah, Fall of Marvel, man. Chime in.
Yeah.
Sir.
First of all, I got to give a shout out to Greg Pritchett in the chat on YouTube. That's my man. That was the Shikamaru in the.
Oh, hey there. How you doing?
So he's watching on YouTube.
Man.
That's awesome, man. That was a great job. Great job. anyway, Fall of Marvel. Go ahead and do your thing. What was your first experience
All right.
with Dragon Ball?
So my first experience with it, I want to say this was probably like around in 96 or 97. I'm not sure. It was definitely between that time. And this was still during Rock the Dragon intro time.
Yo, man.
And this is when they were airing, and this is when they were airing it on Fox. Mm-hmm. Now at this time, I wasn't really all off into anime yet. I knew tidbits of it, but it's like I didn't really understand the difference of it yet. Up to that point, my only introduction to it was Street Fighter movie, the Fate of Fury movies, and occasionally Sailor Moon. Up to that point, I didn't really think it was a difference. I was just like, okay, it's just an animated, thing or whatever. I didn't know the difference. So one day I'm flipping the channel, and apparently they were on the episode where the Ginyu Force introduces themselves at the end at an episode. I called it that, like when they were doing the roll call. And I was looking at it thinking this was like the dumbest shit I was looking at. And I didn't, it was like, I don't know what this stupid shit is, but I'm about to turn from it. And I think, and so fast forward maybe about a year and a half, they start airing it on Toonami. So I start watching it and then I continuously watch it. And then they get to that episode and I'm like, that's what this was? and I'm just like, damn, I wish I would have been watching it then. But and then, of course, I probably have watched that first. I don't know how many seasons they consider that. It's probably like the first, technically 5 seasons, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how they do the seasons with Dragon Ball, but basically from the very beginning of Z up until Goku comes and wrecks Raccoon. So it's like constantly just hoping that they would continue the episode after that for I don't know how long it was until Funimation finally took over and actually did all the rest of the production themselves and everything. And just ever since then, between that and the first 3 movies, of course, that has been my revolving introduction to Dragon Ball Z. And even to this day, Tree of Might and World's Strongest are still my favorite movies.
Oh, really? That's nice.
Yeah. Like, even with all the other ones that came afterwards, it's like I wound up seeing them as they started re-releasing them. But to this day, I still enjoyed the early ones. Like Dead Zone's kind of like, Like, I don't hate it, but it's just like I didn't really care for it. Right. But World's Strongest, and Tree of Might, those are my top 2 favorites because that's still a time when they were throwing hands and you can follow it.
Yeah.
Like there's actual like some choreography done in it, So that's why I enjoy it because you can get into it, especially World's Strongest. Like I think that's like my top favorites, World's Strongest, then Tree of Might. So, but yeah, it's like that was my initial introduction. Eventually I came across other stuff. I don't think I came across Dragon Ball until years later. I didn't watch the original Dragon Ball until years later. Right. And then of course I watched GT. I had a friend that hooked me up with some fan subs of GT. Watched it once, never watched it again. I'll just leave it at that.
Dude. This is how obsessed we were full. So let me run down mine and we'll move on to the next one, right? So my first exposure to Dragon Ball was back in high school. And actually no, I used to watch it on Channel 20 like you, where it was just regular Dragon Ball, and I thought it was boring. I was like, what is this? Same 13 episodes over and over again. This is really interesting, and it was heavily censored. I couldn't make head or tails of this thing because it wasn't making any sense. But then I got exposed to it again when I was in high school. I was on this retreat for an animation camp or something like that because I wanted to be an animator when I was a kid. And so this guy brought some anime. And it was both. He was like, dude. It was Street Fighter 2 the movie.
Oh yeah, that was another one.
Right.
He was like, dude. He's like, man. It's like if you're in a Street Fighter, you should watch this. Chun-Li was naked. I was like, what? Oh, let's go. Let me see it. So I was watching it, right? And then, but he put on this other one afterwards, and he was like, it's Dragon Ball Z. And of course, guess which movie it was? It was movie 7. Yeah. But here's the deal. It was Raw.
Oh,
I didn't give a damn.
Oh,
because it was that.
No sub.
I didn't give a damn. I couldn't understand a word they were saying. The action was so good. I was like, I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what they're doing. But this sounds. Oh, this is awesome. Like, I love this thing. It's like, what is this? So when I came back home, I got with Will, and I was like, Will, it's like, dude, you need to see this, dude. So we started tracking it down, and we started watching stuff, and it was on after that. It was an obsession after that. Forget it. It was like, forget it. So, back to the GT thing. So, when after Dragon Ball Z was over, by the time we had really gotten into it, Dragon Ball Z was already over.
Yeah.
So, when GT came out, we knew there was this Japanese video store. So, we would go and grab the tapes. We rent tapes of GT, like, fresh from Japan. Like, tape with the Japanese commercials and everything.
And we
would go to
yeah.
his house. we would go to Will's house. GQ would come over, and we watched them boys, and they were raw. I mean, just straight raw.
I think I've seen a couple of them because I remember watching quite a few of them raw as well later on in the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah.
GT is obviously the redheaded stepchild of the entire series.
Absolutely.
I think the problem, it did, and I think the problem with it was it started off kind of just all over the place. Like it didn't make much sense. It's like, okay, you made Goku young, and then you got Trunks and Pan and Goku going through the galaxy trying to find the Black Star Dragon Balls, but you spent like the first couple of episodes not even really dealing with that story. Like you're just doing like they're fighting these people that dance. I'm like,
I don't watch
what are you trying to do? What story are you trying to tell here? And I think it didn't pick up. I mean, of course, obviously, once you get into the baby saga, and then once you get into the different dragons, that's when it really truly found its footing. It got to back to what you really like and what we enjoyed. And of course, it introduced Super Saiyan 4, which heavily, played heavily as a hidden character in the Dragon Ball GT video game that came out on the original PlayStation.
Final Bout.
Final Bout. Now that talking about another game that. Looking back on it, the game was
trash.
It was trash. It didn't matter. It was just like
Dragon Ball.
It's because it was Dragon Ball. That's all that mattered.
Exactly. That's all it needed. The only cloud it needed was it said Dragon Ball GT on the front.
And it had Super Saiyan 4.
Yeah, Super Saiyan 4 code. And that was the only thing we cared about. And the fact that you could have, the back and forth tug of war with the energy blast and stuff like that, that's what made that game interesting. And then the fact that when it was finally released in the over here in the States, it was like a super duper hot collector's item for about a year because it came out super duper limited release, and I just happened to walk into a store that doesn't even exist anymore called Media Play, and they had it just sitting there. I'm like, oh, that's bought. And I just, bought it right away. And then, of course, later on it shot up in price, but then they did finally re-release it.
Dude, I had the original. I imported mine. I paid like $80 to get that boy. I didn't care.
Yeah, I know back then, dude, we can talk about stories about not caring about back then.
Yeah.
But, I remember playing that game, and I was like, man, this game sucks.
Hey, man, you know what, though? I know there's a lot of Dragon Ball games that have been out over the years. Most of them have been pretty bad. Some of them have been pretty good. Like, one of the best ones, I don't know if anybody else played this on the original PlayStation, but I know you did, GQ. I did.
Legends?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I was talking about Dragon Ball Z Legends, dude.
Yeah, Legends.
You remember Legends?
One of my boys. One of my boys had it.
Dude.
Okay, remember Legends was like the one where
Did it
it was
have
like
the fight meter at the bottom where you had?
it was like a tug of war battle back and forth.
Yeah, I played it on the Saturn with the Reeves brothers.
Yeah. Legends was good. I remember, one of our good friends was all about that Super Pototen.
I'm not gonna name no names, but yeah, he was.
This person knows who they are.
Yeah, he does.
Hyped it up till the cows came home, and when we finally sat down and played it, it was just like, really? You know what I'm saying? Like hyped it up like it was fighters, like it was Dragon Ball Fighter Z, and it was just like,
dude, could you imagine if we had fighters?
It was on Super Nintendo. Like, come on, dude.
Gosh,
dude, I don't know. First of all, if fighters came out back then, I probably would have not graduated college. I would have missed all sorts of classes still playing that game. Like that, just the visual presentation of that game when I saw the trailer was like, oh, this is a day one buy. Guaranteed. Like, I am not waiting to pick this. Like, this is something I've been waiting for, like you said, over 20 years. You know, because again, the anime came out like way before any of us saw it, of course. But it's just like,
and we all kept saying like, why can't they make a really good Dragon Ball fighting game? Like, what is this? Like, we've had we've had Budokai, which was.
Budokai's fun, but it's
decent. It was decent.
Bro, I didn't like
I didn't like any of the Budokais either.
I didn't like none of them.
And everybody used to look at me like I was crazy because I didn't like any of the Budokais. I was like, dude, this isn't a really good fighting game. Like, give me a good fighting game. And then we finally get one. And it's just like, and you see how it's taken off. That thing is like, it's great. It was like when Guilty Gear first came out, what did we always say?
No, I remember when Guilty Gear first came out. Because I bought Guilty Gear.
Right. What did we always say?
And we were saying that if they could make a Dragon Ball fighting game that's like Guilty Gear, it'd be great. But I remember you got, for the most part, maybe it wasn't you, but I remember other people at the club when I brought Guilty Gear. It's like, this game is fun, but It's just that freaking instant kill thing. Because once people figured it out,
yeah,
it was
buddy.
just like,
You got
buddy.
smoked.
you lost both rounds
Well,
if you got hit with
Here's
it.
the thing with Guilty Gear, not to go too far off track. I am with you 100% on that. Because when I played it the first time, because I remember when you brought it up there, and it was just like, I did the instant kill on somebody. And it was like,
First round is.
yeah, it's like, how did you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, if it's that easy to do, because again, everybody said they were hard to do. I'm like, okay, I figured it out without figuring it out. It's like, okay, something's wrong. So, yeah, I think that was one thing. But, yeah, like you said, Guilty Gear was like the template. Like, oh, if you make a Dragon Ball game like this, I'll be all over that. And they finally, Arc System Works finally did it.
Right, it's 15 years later, but whatever. I didn't care. It was great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was great. All right, so the next part of the topic is what was everybody's favorite moment of Dragon Ball? Like, we've had a lot of series over the years. Everybody has that one epic moment that surpasses anything else. Like, I'll go first. Like, for me, the one that just sold it for me was what made Gohan my favorite character. It's like when he blew up as Cell, and he's like he went super ruthless when he first turned Super Saiyan 2. I was like, dude, I love this kid. I was like, because he was like super cold, ruthless. He wasn't like, oh, please don't do this, don't do this. He was like, no, fuck this. I'm killing you. It's like, this is it. Like, you've gone too far. I'm killing you. So like, that was my favorite moment. What was your favorite moment, GQ? In all of Dragon Ball, if you had to pick any one moment, what was the best moment to you?
Honestly, first appearance of Trunks and and Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
Because I think and again, obviously I'm gonna put, just like in comic books where like, okay, you show up in the last panel, but then like your true first appearance is the following issue. I'm treating those 2 episodes as his first appearance because he shows up. Like, Frieza comes back, spoilers, 50 years later, spoilers. But, like, Frieza shows up after, Planet Namek is destroyed. He's rebuilt, got robotic parts. Now, again, this is off of the fan sub. Now, granted, I'm sure the dub is somewhat close, but he basically, shows up in his ship, his whole army or whatever, and he's like, fan out and go start killing humans. And it's just like, go. And then, next, the only thing you see is, little slash animations coming up, and then body parts just raining out of the sky. It's like, what the heck? And
right.
then, then you just see those feet come down with them boots, Capsule Corp jacket and all that. It's just like, who the hell
is that?
This dude?
Like, dude, he's got a sword. This shit looks cool as hell.
And then you jump into the next episode for all the actual action with him, and it's just like... It's like Frieza's throwing all his biggest stuff at him. Like, he throws, a death ball at him. Like, Trunks just, one-hands it, just walks out of the crater. It's just like, whatever. But the best part of it to me was when he's freaking jumped up over him and then cut him in half.
Yep.
And they literally animated 2 sides of, his vision splitting. I was just like...
This is cold.
Dude, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's cold.
And to this day, that's still one of my favorite moments out of all the Super Saiyan power-ups and all the stuff they come up with.
Yeah.
Because to me, that was just one of the most creative things I've ever seen in anything.
In animation at all?
Period.
Yeah.
I was just like, dude.
I like that.
Yeah, so that, to me, that's always something that stuck with me. I was just like, yeah, I like that. The way that was done was awesome.
Yeah, so... which one is yours, Dado? What's your favorite moment?
Gosh, dude, that is so hard.
I know it's always hard for you picking.
It is hard because while he was talking, listening to a story, and then trying to go through my memory of all the stuff where I got so hyped over stuff. Because, that part was hype. Seeing Goku turn, actually seeing Krillin get blown up, and then freaking Goku turn to Super Saiyan for the first time was freaking hype. In the chat, they were talking about, even though Greg didn't, I guess, care too much for it, but I like the freaking driving episode with Goku and
that was
Piccolo.
the best episode ever.
Yeah,
are you kidding me?
But one of the most recent memories for me now, and I'm gonna say this recent, is when Goku went Ultra. What the fuck did he just? What is going on?
Right.
So it's hard to pick one because there's so many of them where you're sitting there and you getting hyped about this. I'm 40-year-old man still getting hyped about Dragon Ball.
I know. Yeah, because dude, even when you speaking of the Ultra, right?
Yeah.
Without
Ultra Instinct.
Yeah, without doubt, the coolest shit in the Ultra Instinct was when he was fighting Kefla. She fires off a blast, he's loading his Kamehameha, just running with it.
Yeah.
And then he just slides across it with his stuff, hops over
Right
and just blasts
in
it
the
right in the
face.
face. Oh, dude, it was awesome.
In the face.
Yeah, it was awesome, dude.
But it's just like
Yes,
just like
in the
seeing
face.
Broly come in
I love
and
that. That was
freaking
great.
smashing people, and one of the things that it's just. It's hard to pick one. I mean, overarching, my favorite thing about Dragon Ball Z is probably Vegeta. It's just him, period. Seeing him coming in as a villain, and over time, he is the most dynamic character out of
Vegeta.
anybody there.
Like, probably, he may have supplanted Gohan for me.
Yeah.
Like, as far as, like, my favorite character in Dragon Ball.
And I just want to see him get his due one day. It pisses me off so much that they just won't.
You should read the manga. I
the
think
manga,
they're building him
from what I
towards
understand,
that.
he's
getting there.
Getting to
Yeah.
that point.
He's getting
But
there.
coming out of the chat though, Greg also said that Majin Vegeta was his absolute favorite part
Yes.
of Z. Vegeta snapped, put the paws on Goku, and then sacrificed himself. So, and again, it goes back to. And I think that's one of the things. Again, Trunks' appearance is one of my favorite moments. But as far as character, Vegeta is that dude.
Yeah,
because for me, Vegeta, like you guys said, started off as a bad guy, and then you show his full transition, his full character growth. To me, he had more character growth than any other character in the entire series.
Exactly.
Correct.
That's what I like.
If you look at it, Goku,
He's been the same.
he's grown, but not by a very little.
Right.
Like he's still the same goofball he's always been. He still doesn't take fights seriously until it's too late. Vegeta is ruthless, but then at the same time, when it comes to his family, he's compassionate, and it's like you see those two sides of his personality. And then, like in Super, you really get to see.
Oh yeah,
so
when
it's just like
Beerus smacked him and
Boy,
When he smacked Bulma,
smacked
dude.
he was the first person to land a hit on him.
Yeah.
Out of everybody else that was going at him, it's like now, once he saw that, it was like, oh hell no,
Right.
Dude just lost it. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like Vegeta to me has always been a very interesting character, just in the sense of he's a deep character. He's not just one note like a lot of the characters are. And so I appreciate that.
Sasuke.
With him.
Absolutely. Follow Marvel. What's your favorite moment?
I guess it's kind of like the same with GQ when Trunks first popped up, and I want to say just as much after that, probably that first sparring match between him and Goku, with everything leading up to that, I thought that was actually pretty badass. So, but one of the things I kind of look back on, and I think like to me, it's kind of like it kind of shows like the complexity of Vegeta, but at the same time, to me, like I just find it funny because it's just how it came about was when Goku caught the heart virus in the middle of fighting Android 19. I think was it 19? Wasn't the fat one 19?
Yeah, yes.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. When he was fighting him, and of course Vegeta's like going through the story of how he finally achieved Super Saiyan.
Yeah,
And it was like,
Krillin's all
and
like,
dude, it was like, dude,
sure.
he was going through all of this shit, trying to achieve this shit, and it just got to the point where he just didn't give a damn no more. He didn't care about it anymore, and that's when
it was over.
he just got so low. He just got so low to where he just didn't care anymore, and that's when he gets it. And it's just like, wow, I was like, wow.
I think that's what makes me appreciate him as a character more, though. Like, not Goku is the main character of the show, but with Vegeta, anytime he achieved a new power, you got to watch his journey of how he got it, what he went, what he worked to do it. With Goku, it's like, okay, now granted, Krillin dying, that pushes him over the edge.
Yeah.
That's fine. I accept that because that's the first Super Saiyan. But then it seemed like every other time after that, it was just like, oh, well, okay, well, Goku needs new power. It's the old Superman thing.
Yes.
Superman needs new power. Let's write something in. And
Japanese Superman.
It's like,
hey.
It's like, at least with Vegeta, it's like gravity training. Out in asteroid fields fighting off asteroids.
Training he did was just ridiculous.
Like Vegeta has always been more interesting in that regard to me. Like he works for what he gets.
He works for everything, and you have to love that about him. Absolutely. So Mike Ziembo is basically echoing over in Facebook. He's echoing all of our sentiments about Vegeta playing second fiddle to Goku. How we all kind of really
Yo,
just
we haven't heard from Lena in a while. Where's she at?
we haven't heard from Yanya in a while. You're absolutely right. I don't know if she's still there.
Favorite topic.
This isn't her favorite topic. You're right.
Out of real quick though, out of the chat,
go ahead.
This scouter is making it hard to read. Sorry.
Is it over 9,000?
Yeah. No. The special about Adult Gohan, which is also known as the History of Trunks.
The History of Trunks.
Yeah, History of Trunks with the one arm. He says that was one of his things that he enjoyed in the Battle of the Androids and the other, the alternate timeline.
Oh
yeah, that and also even the Bardock special. Or what do they call it now? Bardock Father.
They call it
the story of Bardock.
Yeah. So those two were really interesting. I did enjoy both of them.
Yes.
Obviously, I like how they retold the Bardock story. It kind of switched it up a little bit in the newer one, the Broly movie. I really like the reimagining of it because again, the one that was told in the one that we got the father of Goku.
Yeah.
It was good, but it was just kind of like, okay, this is a little too convenient. Like you happen to be fighting on an alien planet where they give you psychic powers. You're seeing the future with your son, and then all of a sudden you go in to try to stop Frieza from blowing up Planet Vegeta.
Yeah.
I'm like,
right?
I don't know. So
just
I enjoyed seeing how they redid it in the Broly movie.
Absolutely, it was much better.
Freaking amazing. I mean, even though I cut my teeth on 7 and 8, and they were my favorite, I think the newest movie that came out is the best.
It's the best Dragon Ball movie ever. Yes, without
question.
Broly,
yes,
it absolutely is. Yeah,
Broly,
is the best one ever. But I also liked going back to the specials. What I liked about those ones is like, whereas sometimes Dragon Ball can be kind of goofy and stuff like that, those ones were all serious. It was like, especially the history of Trunks. Dude, that was the dystopian future. The androids were killing everybody.
That thing started off depressing.
Didn't
it? Like, dude, because
everybody got smoked at the beginning. It was just
like the androids were killing everyone. Like, it didn't matter. It was like Goku couldn't save them because he had succumbed to the heart virus. So nobody could stop the androids. Vegeta died. Yamcha died. Well, I mean, sure, of course he died.
Krillin died.
Yeah, Krillin died. Like, everybody was dying. The only one who was left was a one-armed Gohan who was training Trunks in secret while Bulma was working on a time machine. And it was like...
Now, he didn't lose his arm yet. He didn't lose his arm yet.
He still had both of them.
He still had both of them.
When they revealed that he got it blasted off, it was just like...
And then when Trunks first turned Super Saiyan the first time, cradling a dead Gohan, dude, the moment was everything. The moment was great. The moment was great.
That's the
thing.
It
hurt.
Future Trunks was always Trunks' best version.
Yes.
Like, everything that you always saw that was cool with Trunks was usually his future form. I also look back at one of my favorite things, again, involving Trunks, not future Trunks, but Kid Trunks, was movie 13 with, Tapia. That freaking theme is so awesome.
Yes.
Like, that is just like, it's like mesmerizing.
Yeah, it is.
That little ocarina theme that he was playing. So that's another.
And Tapion was a cool character, man.
Oh yeah, he was.
Yeah, Tapion was a really cool character. I loved his story too, like how he was basically tied to the monster and he had to keep playing the flute in order to keep it under control. But it was causing him pain too at the same time. I thought it was great.
You try playing an ocarina without taking a breath. This dude ain't Kenny G up in this place, trying to do anything.
Hannah Omega's in the chat is asking, is anybody who watched Dragon Ball Heroes, Super Saiyan 4 versus Blue, and Cumber? Now, Dragon Ball Heroes.
I have not.
I
wanted to, I haven't watched it. Like, I've been letting them collect. I have wanted to watch it because I like Dragon Ball Heroes. I guess is almost like a what if type deal.
Yeah, that's all it is.
A whole bunch of what if type scenarios together, and they merged them all together. It was almost like basically seeing Dragon Ball's universe in animated form. So
because it's supposed to be some kind of game. Like, apparently, that's
it's a
card game. It's like a digital card game.
It's a digital card game.
They got 18 episodes. Here's a link. I might put it in there because somebody.
Yeah, go ahead because I actually would love to see
18.
them. Yeah, I would actually love to see them, and I know they're really short episodes.
2 hours. This is.
Yeah.
As a collective.
Yeah, for all of it.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing because each thing is like about 7-8 minutes.
Yeah, I can watch through that. That's literally like going back to the old style of the Clone Wars animated before they did the
Tarkovsky one.
Yeah, that seems to be similar. I mean, obviously a little bit longer, but
which is a shame. They threw that out of Star Wars canon.
Clone Wars. It might have been really good. Side note that action oriented, but Clone Wars was done like a million times better.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm not discounting that. No, you're absolutely
the
right.
story. Yeah, the Clone Wars animated was just pure action.
Yeah.
That's what the whole point
absolutely.
of that was. But going back to Dragon Ball before we cut out of here.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have to touch on it. They had a live action movie.
Oh, yeah.
It was horrible.
Why did you bring that up?
Because-
Come on.
Okay. Look.
Right,
Look.
Here's why I bring that up.
Okay.
Do you think that given the tech, given the storytellers that are out there, given the actors that are available, could they do a good, actually good Dragon Ball movie now?
No.
Yes.
No. I say no.
Okay,
Give it to
wait,
Disney and
they
Kevin
can't.
Feige. Let them do
You
it.
say why?
The reason why I say yes is, granted, you have to have the right people behind it. That's always the case. Just look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody ever thought that we were going to see good comic book movies that were comic book movies. They didn't try to change it to make it realistic, like, whatever. They said, this is, huh?
Said, well, not too much.
Yeah, well, not too much. I mean, it's kind of try to be
They
in realism,
modified
but
it.
at the
They
same
made it
time,
work.
they made it work.
Yeah.
So I think they can. The focus is on martial arts. The focus is on not trying to make it too real. The focus is on, because the Dragon Ball movie that came out, first off, they made Goku a
white
teenager. Boy. That was one of them. I mean, he was still around a bunch of Asians, and I think maybe they did that. Well, I know why they did that, but story-wise, maybe because he's an alien. Who knows? Not going to justify it regardless. But they can do it. Focus on the martial arts. Focus on the surrealism. And they can follow as close as they can the plots that actually happen. And you won't have a problem with it. The live-action Dragon Ball did try to, for the most part. I mean, he was living out in the countryside by himself. He meets Bulma looking for a Dragon Ball. But he was a teenager and he went to high school and...
I think the problem with that particular one was, and I'll obviously let Kenshiro say what he has to say, but I think the problem with that one was you were telling a Dragon Ball story in a Z era.
Yeah.
It's like people were like, where's the Super Saiyan stuff? Where's this, Cell? Like, where's the stuff that we're, because again,
that we know. Yeah.
If you would have released that movie back in the 80s, fine, do Dragon Ball. But by the time that movie came out, it's like, dude, we're all up on Z now. Like, can we get something with a more action and more interesting? And I think that was part of the problem with that film, besides all the other stuff that was, of course, wrong with it. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I was actually going to bring up that, and they actually just referenced it in the chat. Remember, technically, we've had 2 live-action Dragon Balls because there was a Hong Kong one too.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen.
By the way,
I've seen that one too.
That one wasn't very good. Now that only somewhat reinforces my point is that I don't think that they'll ever be able to make a good Dragon Ball because part of the problem with live-action translations, there's 2 of them. Like we know Japan has been doing live-action anime movies for a little while now.
Some of them about that.
Yeah, some of them are good.
I disagree.
Some of them are good. The
I
Kenshin
fell asleep
ones,
on Rurouni Kenshin.
You fell asleep on Kenshin?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
the
wow.
Kenshin movies to me were good. Gatchaman was bad. The opening scene of Gatchaman was really good, but
I didn't even try to watch Gatchaman.
Attack on Titan, terrible.
I didn't even try to watch that.
Full Metal Alchemist, terrible.
Try.
Bleach was
I watched Bleach.
Decent. Bleach was decent.
Yeah, Bleach was decent.
I don't like where it ended.
But here's the deal, right? So if they try to make a live action Dragon Ball, it does greatly depend on who's the one doing it. If it's over in America, they will definitely try and Americanize it, and that's going to be a no bueno.
Well, they already supposedly planning to do.
Give it to Kevin Feige. Give it to Kevin Feige. Let him do it.
Kevin Feige can fix that. So
what if it's
yeah, he can. The hell he can't.
Japanese live action.
Like,
there she is. What'd you say, Meow? What?
Well, I said if they do a live action, I don't trust an American one.
Absolutely not.
But I would definitely watch if they did a live action Japanese one. I'd watch it.
They did a Hong Kong one.
Yeah,
it's not really
track it down.
action.
It's not Japanese, so I wouldn't watch it.
That, but Hong Kong,
they apparently they ran into some copyright issues because they couldn't even use the original names in it. And then the Dragon Balls were Dragon Pearls, and they were clear with white stars in them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would also watch it if which
Goku was
I
called
don't think
Monkey
they
Boy.
would, but
Putting Henry
if it was
Cavill
a
in it.
Korean version,
Yeah,
I like that
No,
one.
put Henry Cavill in it as
Stop,
Cell.
stop, stop.
She'll watch it.
She actually said she thought Cavill will make a good Vegeta. Hell no. What?
She did say
Hell
Cell.
no.
She did say that in
She
pre.
did
Cell.
say that in pre-show.
You
He could be
said
a Cell.
the question was,
Cavill being Cell.
would Henry Cavill make a good Goku? I said no. I'd rather see him as Vegeta because I like Vegeta.
Okay, so how tall does Goku have to be now? Now you got to get like Big
Right?
You gotta get like the Big Show to be
Yeah.
Goku.
Yeah.
If you want to.
I don't care who they get to. I don't care who they get to be Goku as long as Vegeta is good.
Again, you see, we're on the same page. Hold on, you don't even like Dragon Ball. You can't like Vegeta all of a sudden.
That is the only thing I like about Dragon Ball.
Whatever.
Well,
She
that's.
likes that Widow's Peak.
I'll give her that.
She must like that Widow's Peak. That must be what it
Even
is.
the
I don't
Widow's
know.
Peak.
Whatever.
A shirt in her closet that says Batman.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying about whether I think they can make a live action Dragon Ball or not. Westernizing it, no bueno. It absolutely cannot happen. Effects wise, I think they could do it. There's been some fan films that have tried to do it very well, and some of them have been pretty good. Some of them have been pretty good, but to me, I had live action anime doesn't translate very well. Like we saw, Ghost in the Shell was a.
I like Ghost.
I loved Ghost in the Shell. Well, I shouldn't say loved. I really like Ghost in the Shell. I thought as adaptations go, it was a pretty faithful one, especially seeing as how it was done by done for a Western audience. It still retained a lot of what made the Japanese anime and the manga very, very good. But live action anime doesn't really translate. It depends on which one you're doing. If they were trying to do a live action Gundam, I think it'd be very easy for them to do. And I think it would be received
which one
really
is
well.
the question?
What? True. That's always been the sticking point. I think if they did the original Gundam, I think it would translate really well. But if they were to do something like a Bleach, or not a Bleach, if they were trying to do something like a Naruto, I think it would look terrible. If they were trying to do Dragon Ball Z, I think it would look terrible.
Did you not hear the news?
Oh, about One Piece? Yes, I was going to bring that up. And you know that's going to be terrible, right? You know that's going to be
Yeah,
terrible.
because that's gonna be
really
that's gonna be
bad.
strictly
Go
with
ahead, GQ,
Netflix
what were you gonna
budget
say?
too.
What were we saying, Fallen?
No, I'm saying that's gonna be strictly with Netflix budget too. Like I don't know. Like, I mean, granted, Lost in Space looks really good for the budget that they have. So, but the rest of their shows, I don't know. Like, because we know Netflix is known for cutting
really
corners.
good shows. I'm just saying.
Netflix do. Oh,
They do, but they also cut corners.
Come on,
Sorry,
now.
no.
Yeah.
But out of the chat, though.
I wasn't going there. I was talking about their sci-fi shows. They have a lot of sci-fi shows that are good.
No, they do.
that
No,
look
you're
good,
right.
too.
No, they do. Go ahead,
That's
GQ.
fair. Said Jr. says that, real question, do you think it's time to retire Goku or make him take a backseat and focus on the next generation of Saiyans
They
like
tried that.
Gohan, Goten, or Trunks?
No, they tried that.
They
already.
were supposed to do
Yeah, they
that,
tried that already.
and
Didn't work.
fans didn't like it, so they
No.
brought him back.
Yeah, they
That's
tried
what
that
happened.
already. It didn't work. Like,
But we, I guess now they gave him Ultra Instinct, so.
yeah, no, they
Yeah.
can't walk. There's no putting that genie back in the bottle. I mean, look, the man. The character is the ambassador for the Tokyo Olympics.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
he is.
He's here to
That's
stay.
a wrap.
He's here to
It's
stay.
a wrap, dude. No.
He is alien Mickey Mouse right now.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very good analogy.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like
Mickey
that.
Mouse.
No, he is.
He is.
He is.
He is. He's the Japanese equivalent of Superman and Mickey Mouse all rolled into one in Japan.
I mean, there's so many
Yikes.
arguments about who would win a fight, Goku or Super.
Like they have Goku Day. Like,
Oh,
come
dude,
on.
I'm so over that. Yeah, I'm so over that.
Well,
Ultra
now I know
Instinct.
Superman would win.
Oh, of course he would, but
Of course he would.
because he's ridiculously overpowered.
Everybody
as
says,
always.
"Oh well, Goku and the Saiyans they can blow up planets." I'm like, yeah, okay. How long is it gonna take for him to charge up that blast for Superman? To knock him out?
Well, hey, now I finally finished Dragon Ball Super and saw the Tournament of Power, and I want to know how much energy do they have, because
Right.
it gets to this point where it's just like, okay, you start off in base form, and that's fine. You get all the little small fry out of the ring. That's cool. Then he goes to like, I think he went up to like, he didn't even go up to God. He went up to like Super Saiyan and fought some people.
Yeah, he
Then he
did.
goes to Super Saiyan God.
He went up to
fought some
God
people.
once.
No,
He
did.
went to
up
God once.
Then he was like, skip that. I'm going blue because Jiren popped up and was losing his mind. Then he tapped into Ultra Instinct for a half a second there. Wasn't quite sure what it was. Didn't know what he was doing with it. Lost. Okay, cool, but didn't get knocked out the ring. Then you go back to he's fighting like Kefla. I'm not. Kale and Kava at the before they cauliflower before they merged, and it's just like, okay, you're showing off Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3. And then you do the fight. Then you tap into Ultra Instinct again. I'm like, how much energy does this fool have? And then by the time
Saiyans are broken.
he goes back to blue. Right, he's like super broken, and it's just like
Saiyans in general are broken. That's the thing. It's like Goku's always gonna have that plot armor, like regardless of whatever. But it's just a known fact that Saiyans are just naturally broken.
Not just
Like because they literally increase power in the middle of fights. They literally get power boosts in the middle of fighting.
Yeah,
like
I mean, but Master Roshi was competing with these people, and I didn't think he was capable.
So he was outsmarting people.
Awesome in this, man.
I didn't really realize how, because everybody talking about Krillin is the most. Now I still think Roshi's still the strongest human on the planet because he not only how many people he knocked out.
It's not about
he got about
martial arts prowess.
Yeah, well,
he got about at least I think he got about 4 people out.
Yeah, he did.
But he outsmarted them. He didn't outpower them.
Yeah, hey. That's part of fighting is fighting, and if you gotta outsmart some people, then that's
no, I'm not taking that away from him at all. Like obviously, if we're going power scale, I mean obviously Krillin got that, but if we're talking about fighting prowess, yeah, Roshi still obviously has it. Like the thing is that again, like we've touched on this before, like that tournament of power basically showed how trash Tien has become.
Well,
so it's like
Tenshinhan has never been the greatest,
or Tien, however you want to call it.
Look,
it's always been
look. Tien at least has a W over Goku, like legit.
And that's
at some point. It's
like back in the day, we ain't talking about now. There ain't no way in the world. That's like that one.
I mean, nobody can now, but it's just like still like. It's still at one point Tien was a problem at one point. He still was.
Everybody was. Goku makes friends with all of his enemies. That's how
and it's like and the thing is you can't even put Yamcha in the same thing because the only reason why he beat Goku was because he was hungry.
Well, and not only that,
that's literally the only reason he beat Goku was because Goku was hungry.
Right, but I don't know. Krillin got a little bit more of my respect when they had that episode. And I kind of was hating on him during the episode when they went to that island to get that passion leaf or fruit or whatever it is for Roshi. And
was this when they were kids?
No, this is Super.
Yeah,
because remember Roshi needed that stuff that keeps him young, or gives him.
Oh
had him going.
And he sent them to that island.
Yeah.
It was a training exercise, really.
Yeah.
But he sent them to the island where all the old enemies and fears came back, and I'm like, Krillin, are you really about to bitch up right now? I'm like, dude, you are just cowering in the corner. I'm like, yes, Frieza killed you. So what? You're still here, and you're way stronger than this version of Frieza that you're fighting against right now.
Right.
I'm like, stop it, man. But he actually finally, manned up a little bit. I'm just like, okay, fine. I'll give you some credit. And then when he freaking did that, the Destructo disc that cut the floor out from under Goku, that was cool. I was like, okay, he's at least
he's using his brain.
He's using his brain. So I'm like, okay, I'll give him a little bit more credit than I normally would give Krillin.
And I will say this, at least for the evolution of Dragon Ball is continuing. Obviously, I think the Tournament of Power left a lot of really open doors for paths for them to follow. The whole thing with the other universes, the angels, the gods of destruction,
Broly being canon,
Broly being canon now, and
and Gogeta.
Omega even pointed this out. It's like even in the movie, like before Goku would beat Broly, straight up he'd be defeated. Goku didn't beat Broly; he had to fuse in order to beat him, which.
Right,
still puts Broly
and that was only really to stop him. Like
that was only to
stop
him. That wasn't to kill him.
He fused to Gogeta Blue, and it was just like,
yeah.
Now here's the thing: they were about to kill him, and then I forgot her name, but she wished him, back to where he, back to his planet or whatever.
Oh yeah, I forget her name.
Oh yeah, you right.
But,
You
his
right.
girlfriend.
Yeah, and I thought that was pretty cool how they did that, because it's like, okay, you're not gonna just introduce him and then kill him off. It's like he's not a Marvel or DC villain. He actually gets to stick around for a little bit of time, which was cool. But I thought I'm very interested to see where they go from here.
Same.
Because the
Same
manga,
thing, yeah.
and again, this is one of the few times where it's like, okay, I'm kind of interested in what the manga is going. Again,
you've been reading?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Okay,
It's like we're getting back to that original, like you said, that scratch of like, I want more.
Yeah.
Because now it's not that, oh, well, this is kind of somewhat. It's like, no, this is really good, and they left it off really interesting. So now it's just like, dude, like, and finally we got some of the movies in, actual theaters.
That was something I was wanting.
That's
for a
another thing
long
that was
time.
a real surprise and a real shock, that it was just like, okay.
And it did well.
It
Yeah,
did
it
really
did well.
well.
And I think, and it goes back to it. I always say it. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and all of those, for a lot of people, they have to, whether they like it or they don't, they still have to respect it, because it's hitting all of those points of being like, look, it's pushing anime further and further along as far as exposure, and it is a brand ambassador essentially for anime, because it's like a lot of those early Channel 20 things. If Dragon Ball wasn't successful and they kept it to the point where people were still watching them same 13 episodes over and over and over and over, and the ratings were still high, and like, you eventually push and some studios bought up and, did some more dubs and blah, 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 and it kept going. If they didn't initially start with that, and it would be that popular, we wouldn't have half of the stuff that we have now. Just being real, like what else would have come out that would have had that type of impact? Because especially with shorter attention spans, more stuff that's around, it's like, okay, as good as Naruto is, do you really think Naruto would have been the one to bridge that gap? You know what I'm saying? And I think it's
because DBZ set the Dragon Ball set the standard.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's that's a true evolution of just the genre in general. It's just like, you've gone from like maybe seeing it on Channel 20 like Saturday morning or whatever, or having to hunt down like fan subs somewhere, to it's on Crunchyroll, it's on different streaming services. You can get Blu-rays and DVDs easily now, versus, oh, you had to go to Suncoast Motion Picture back when they, were still around, and pay $30 for like a tape that only had one or the other. You had to pick, and then you can go to the theater and get a ticket to see this on the big screen. It's just, it's gone from just this super duper small niche thing to like, dude, it's mainstream and it's really good now. So I think that's, to me, that's showing just the amount of growth just in the show, and what it's also helping do with other anime as well.
Right. You know what? Speaking of like Tournament of Power, and what they're trying to do is, I think they're trying to make it less cliche, too, because like if you looked at all the characters that were in the Tournament of Power, all the principal characters in Universe 7's team, right? So Vegeta had his niche and his special skill set. Goku had his. Krillin had his. Roshi had his. Gohan did too. Like they're making Gohan. They put him back to where he was at the end of Z, where he had basically the Majin powers. But it's his application of his ki is different than how Goku or Vegeta does it. It's like he's really powerful, but he does it in a different way. And I like that about what they're doing with Dragon Ball 2, is like they're trying to make the characters more individual. Now they're trying to make them individuals, less like they're basically carbon copies of one another. And that's what I really like about Dragon Ball. And Hand of Omega saying, who wants to see Moro, who is the next big bad animated? I do, and I know it's coming. I hope so. It's coming.
They'd be dumb not to.
Yeah, they'd be stupid not to. So it's coming, and that's why they already kind of did the tease. That's why Majin Buu fell asleep. In the Tournament of Power, because it was leading up to this, this next arc. That's why he fell asleep. So so they're basically going to continue the series. The evolution of Dragon Ball will definitely continue, and it's going to be really good. But we kind of already went over our time a little bit, but the topic warranted it, and I do apologize for some of the technical errors that we had. We'll get it together, but in the meantime, we hope that everybody has really enjoyed the discussion that we've had. We certainly have enjoyed discussing back and forth with you, everybody's entry point with Dragon Ball, their favorite memories, their favorite moments, and discussing where Dragon Ball's been and even where Dragon Ball is going. So with that being said, I want to wish you all a great rest of your week. Make sure you come back next week, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central for episode 198. 3 more episodes until the episode 200, which we got some pretty cool stuff in store. We're still working on it. And it's going to be great. I definitely can say that. So for my friends, GQ, for Fall Marvel, for the Great Dadakuji, and for Miaoyan, I'm Kenshiro. We'll see you guys next week. Have a great one.
Peace.
Chala head chala.
Indeed.
Good night, all you happy people.